says something when you've got Aaron Rodgers at number 5 on this list.
Yeah, you know, it's very similar to the Bears that we did, that I wanted to have someone from the modern era, and this is him. But I'm okay with it. I don't feel like this is forcing it at number 5. At this point, given that he's won the MVP award twice, Mark, if you've been named the best player in the league twice, don't you deserve some mention as possible candidate for top 5?
You do. This is a tough list to make, I imagine. We'll talk about some names that didn't make it in a moment, but let's get to number 4 right now. How about Forrest Gregg? We listed him as the best number 20 draft pick of all time. Hails from Birthright, Texas, and if you can find that on a map, you're better than me.
Hey, boy, Forrest Gregg, the real deal.
North of Sulphur Springs.
Played at SMU, big guy, and also played his final season with the Dallas Cowboys. Ended up being a great coach as well, coach for Cleveland, coach for Green Bay and Cincinnati. Forrest Gregg, at one time I had as the second greatest Packer of all time. This is very tricky. Are we talking the best players to ever wear a Packers uniform, or the best Packers? Forrest Gregg could be at the top of this list if we're just talking about the best player to play for the Packers, because no one was better at his position than Forrest Gregg, and Vince Lombardi said that himself.
Hey, this guy, you and I talked about him before, Don Hutson. He might be, on some people's list, the greatest wide receiver of all time, but because he played so long ago, obviously Jerry Rice is who we'd normally assume to be the number 1 guy, but you could make a case for Don Hutson.
Yeah, you bet. Mark, you know, the media group asked me to pick the best wide receivers in league history coming off of Megatron's retirement to see where he would stack up. Don Hutson, I had as number 2. Don Hutson was so far and away of everyone else on the leaderboard when he retired. Over 200 receptions more than the next closest guy. Arguably the best offensive player of the first 50 years in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, you go back and you watch some of the tape, you look at some of the numbers for him. Just a stellar career in a time when, before the era of the wide receiver that we've seen now. So some of those guys get lost, but with the Packers, a lot of them do because there have been so many great players, but when it comes down to the top 2, it's quarterbacks, and the question for fans watching is, all right, what's the order going to be? Who's number 2? Who's number 1? I'll go ahead and spoil it. Brett Favre. There's something about Brett Favre that puts him in number 2.
Yeah, you know, and this is where it gets tough. Brett Favre was fantastic. Earlier when I did this before, I had Forrest Gregg ahead of Brett Favre because I thought Forrest Gregg might be the best left tackle that ever played the game. I'm not sure that Brett Favre is the greatest quarterback. On the other hand, we're saying who was the best Green Bay Packer. Who did people want to watch? And people around the country.
And he defined that franchise for the three years when he
was exactly. He defined the franchise. When you thought Packers in the 90s, you thought Brett Favre. Not to mention three straight MVPs. You're not going to have a tackle win MVP of the league. Brett Favre deserving of this spot. And, oh, by the way, won Super Bowl 31.
Hey, be honest, though. Is he at number 2 because you were always a Niners fan?
No.
This is something. All right, moving on to number 1, Bart Starr.
All I remember is Frank and Bean.
We should definitely move on now. Your all-time number 1 greatest.
Yeah, Bart Starr for me is number 1. Bart Starr, first of all, synonymous with the Packers franchise. Played his entire 16-year career there. His career started out rough, ended up becoming a champion, ended up becoming the head coach of the team. You see the 2-time Super Bowl MVP. Oh, by the way, kind of important Super Bowls, 1 and 2. This deep ball you're seeing right here is from the 1966 NFL title game, which sent the Packers to Super Bowl 1. Overall, Bart Starr 9-1 in the postseason, dude. 9-1.
Epic.
Yes, Bart Starr, fantastic Packer. Then obviously this list.
We see the top 5. Who didn't make it? Who were the hardest guys to leave off?
Oh man, I had to leave off James Lofton. I left off Jim Taylor. I left off Willie Wood, Herb Adderley. But I love having Don Hutson on there, man. First 50 years in NFL history, he and Sammy Baugh, 2 greatest players.
There you have it. Top 5 Packers of all time, according to Elliot Harrison.